Icons of Real Estate, Oregon. Are you ready to learn from the real-life experiences and the proven money-making secrets of Oregon's top producers? If you're an ambitious real estate agent in Oregon ready to skyrocket your business, then this podcast is for you. I'm your host, Maureen Healy, licensed Oregon realtor. Tune in weekly where every guest will have a story to tell and tips to share to help you increase your own business. Brought to you by the Masters in Real Estate Marketing, Arter SEO, and your all-inclusive real estate platform, Icons of Real Estate. Hello, welcome to the Oregon Icons of Real Estate podcast. My name is Maureen Healy. I'm a realtor in Portland, Oregon, and I am your host. And I am so excited today to talk with Melody Nichols, who's a broker with Cascade Hassan Sotheby's International Realty in West Lynn.
That's correct. Thank you so much for having me on the show today, Maureen. Appreciate it.
Happy to have you. We had a little bit of an introductory call yesterday, got to know each other a little bit, and we could just talk for hours, I think.
I was like, I think we're just best friends now.
So this should be a fun one. Now, I always like to start the podcast off with a little bit of a history lesson and find out how long you've been a realtor, and if you had a job prior to this, what was it? And how did you end up here?
Okay, well, that's a long answer. No. So I have been in the industry for 8 years, realtor for 8 years. And I originally had bartended for many, many, many moons. And for a brief moment, I moved down to Los Angeles, California, and I left bartending when I moved down there for a moment in time because a very good girlfriend of mine, Lark, got me an interview with the Black Eyed Peas, and I became a personal assistant for them for a couple of years and loved every second of that.
That sounds like the best job in the world.
It was pretty awesome. Pretty fun stuff. So it was just amazing, really, really super fun experience from my life. But I found myself just missing Oregon actually and wanted to come back home. So when I came back home, I got back into the bar industry and became a singer actually in a nightclub in downtown Portland for a little while, as well as a bartender. And then, I just was ready to be a mom. I got married, I fell in love. And when I was going to become a mother, I knew that I didn't want to be a bartender and have those late nights. And that's for some people totally great, but just wasn't what I wanted. I had dreams of being home for my kids and being there when they were sick and their soccer games and all the things that were really important to me when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. And I started looking around and I realized my mom's in real estate, my sister's in real estate. My Nana owned her own real estate company as I was growing up. So I thought, oh my gosh, I should be a realtor. And my husband was like, you'd be great at that. And I just realized that my personal assistant work, bartending work, all of it's a very natural segue into what I do today in real estate.
So prior to that and coming to the realization of I'm ready to have kids and settle down, with people in your family in real estate your whole life, had you not thought about it at all prior?
Really, I didn't. I was just being young and having a good time in LA, and I was chasing my dreams. I wanted to be a singer and, all these things. So I just went down and chased my dreams, which I love that I did that, and got to be a very intimate part of the music business, which I'm also very grateful for. And then came back home and realized I can't believe this didn't hit me sooner. I wish I would have thought about it sooner, but I was too young being young,
right. You just sow some oats, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It was fun just to live that life because I don't feel like I need that. You know what I mean? I feel like, I've done that. It was really fun, but I was very settled and ready to be a mom when I became a mom to my girls. So
sure. We have that in common as well, because I lived in Los Angeles prior to living in Portland, and it was in my younger single days. And I was a magazine editor and I worked in the entertainment industry as well for a little while, and then moved up to Portland, settled down, had a family. Now I've got 2 kids as well. And it's kind of like a very similar path.
Yes. I know when you said, I'm like, oh my gosh, we really are best friends. So cool.
Definitely need to have lunch after this.
Absolutely.
So you are with Cascade Hassan Sotheby's. Can you talk a little bit about that and how you chose the brokerage, and if you have any mentors there that have played a key role for you in your development?
Oh my God. Absolutely. I would love to speak on that. Well, before it was Cascade Hassan Sotheby's International Realty, when I first started in the industry, I was with the Hassan Company. Mike Hassan was the owner of that company, and he started that brokerage from nothing to the massive, beautiful boutique company it was here in the Portland area. And he was one of my mom's best friends. So I knew when it was time for me to find a brokerage that I wanted to sit down with Mike. I knew what he stood for. I knew his level of expertise. He was classy. He was kind, one of the best, truly the best human beings on planet Earth. And I knew I wanted to be a part of that. So I sat down with him. I was so nervous and he grilled me. I mean, if anybody knows Mike who's watching this, and I'm sure they do and they will, he grilled me, and I just was genuine and honest and gave him my, answers. And he said, well, if the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, Melody, you're going to do fantastic. And he was speaking about my mom. And that means the world to me, because my mom is amazing and she's strong and she's very successful. So that meant a lot to me. And from that, he connected me with my mentor, Joni Schauber, who is now the principal broker at our Westland office for Cascade Hassan Sotheby's. And I could not give her enough money to pay her for her time and her wisdom and her knowledge. Still to this day, she's not only made me into the agent I am today, but is truly, truly one of my best friends still to this day. And after I had my girls, I ended up having identical twin girls, which I am
That is so awesome.
We're so thankful for, so blessed. And one day I was at a panel for our company, and there was Elizabeth Davidson, also from Cascade Hassan Sotheby's International Realty. And she was speaking of how she played soccer, and I played soccer when I was younger, and how she had twin girls. She also has a young boy, which I don't have, but she had twins and another, boy. And I was like, oh my gosh, she is crushing this. Like, I need to be friends with her. I
spoke with Elizabeth for the podcast, so I know.
Did?
Yes, so I was able to go into a little bit of depth with her on all of that, and it is amazing the similarities that you two have.
Yeah. I was just sitting there, my eyes just got huge. I'm like, I need to talk to her. Kind of how I feel with you. I'm like, we're just friends now. She doesn't know it yet, but I did. I cornered her immediately after her, and I was like, my girls were very young at that point in time, and I was like, how do you find time? Because when you have two babies and you're trying to keep your career, it feels almost impossible as a mom, because you're trying just to keep a fraction of yourself.
Yes.
When you have young children, you're just like, and I was watching this woman just shine and succeed on a high level. And so I always make sure I just sit down with Elizabeth from time to time and pick her brain about what she's doing. And I'm always looking to improve myself from those around me. And Joni Schauber and Elizabeth Davidson are definitely two of those people.
I think it's really important when you come in as a new agent to get connected with people that are like that, the consummate professionals that actually care and give thorough training, because we all get kind of turned loose after we get our license with no real world experience. The licensing portion, I noticed when I was doing it, and I've been licensed since 2017. So it was several years ago that I went through it, but I was so surprised there was no training at all about how to write an offer, how to fill out the forms. What are the forms? I mean, nothing, none of that.
All of that came from Joni Schauber for me. Every single step. She showed me, she actually let me do the work for her. Like, I literally was kind of like her personal assistant. I was like, please let me do this. Please let me help you. And she's like, okay, well, I'm going to pay you for your time, because that's what we do in this business. You can't. And she's like, but yes, here, hands on. And she taught me all of that without a mentor teaching you that, and without somebody you could call on the phone in your first couple of transactions, or even now still, if I get hung up on something, I'm like, I haven't called Joni in a while. I'm like, call her. We're going to talk this out. I'm going to get her advice. It's priceless. It's truly, genuinely priceless.
It is. There's like two things that go on, right? You show up with your new license and you're like, I have no idea what to do, even though I'm a licensed realtor. I could actually represent people right now, but I don't know how to write any, do the paperwork side. And then there's also just like the agent etiquette side and how to show a house. And the mechanical pieces of it that are you're not going to know unless you shadow somebody in the field, or somebody sits down and tells you some stuff, because there's nothing on that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I got lucky, like brokerage that I was with. I mean, they do presentations all the time. Like, it's my colleagues are always saying, here's my buyer representation, speech. Here's what I do with each of my clients. Here's my practice. I sit down. here's what it looks like when I sit down for the first time with my buyers. Here's what it looks like when I sit down with my first time as my sellers. And you can take little nuggets like, oh, that's a good idea, or I can implement that over here. And then you just kind of create your own business. But at least you have some kind of guideline, some kind of vision as to what that may look like, especially when you're first, getting started. And Cascade House and Sotheby's actually has first two, which is like usually the people who are involved in the first 2 years of real estate. They have special meetings for them, special times that they meet and get together, and they go over all this stuff that is important stuff, especially when you're learning and in the very beginning and growing. And as realtors and as people, we're always consistently learning and growing, correct?
Absolutely. And I love this in this business that you can learn from so many different amazing agents, but then you also still have the freedom and flexibility to be your own self. You can
Yes.
you can have your own personality, you can have your own style, you can take a little bit of what works from different people and create your own thing and make it work, which is
Absolutely.
so
I think it's
appealing.
important to 100% be yourself, because we're also in a very competitive industry.
Absolutely.
And, people who are like me might not like somebody else, or I'm not everybody's cup of tea either. You know what I mean? And that's okay. We can't always be everybody's, but the people, if you are yourself and you're competing for a listing or whatever else, then, it should help you shine just by being yourself and by implementing your own strategies that you believe in.
Absolutely. Now, are you working with both buyers and sellers, or do you
Yes.
specialize in one or the other?
I do both buyers and sellers. I've actually been very fortunate enough to be 100% referral based at this point in time in my career. And I absolutely feel so
Fantastic.
thankful for that. So
That's
a
the
lot of
dream for everyone,
it
right?
is the dream. It is a dream because you know what? Referral based chances are if I know, like, and trust you, like, and trust me, and I'm going to love the people that you're sending me. So thank you. And I hope to continue to be referral based because it really is just, I get to work with my favorite people that way.
It's the
But I'm
best.
always happy to meet new people too. I love making new friends as well. So
Sure.
and I definitely work with both buyers and sellers. A lot of people that are, my age are, having kids and, on the buy side of things. But I also have been working with a lot of my friends and clients, like parents and stuff. So I'm helping them list and sell. And then they refer me to their neighbors or friends. And so I'm just kind of all over the board, which I love. I love both sides.
I do both sides as well. And I think that it's fun and also important, because if you only do the listing side or you only do the buyer side and you've never done the opposite, it I think you just bring more knowledge and expertise when you have had experience on both sides, and you can educate your client even a little bit, because they sometimes clients are very headstrong about, well, I'm not going to do this, or I'm only going to do that. And you can bring that perspective and say, well, I see what you're saying, but if you think about it from the other side, which I've been on, think
Yes.
about it like this. And they're like, okay. I think
Yes.
just having that
Especially
balance.
current. You have both going on. You'd be like, hey, listen, seller, I know that you want X amount of dollars. However, I'm out there right now. I'm on the ground with these people, and either it's not working at that point in time or whatever the market's doing right now. It's like in our current market, it would, where we thought it was going to be more of a buyer's market, it's still competitive offers and
I
everything.
know it. It's amazing to me.
What? I've been pretty shocked about that.
Me
But it is.
too.
I just wrote an offer and we were competing with 9 different offers
Oh, wow.
on the table, but we won. Yay.
Oh, excellent. Well
Yeah.
done. Out of 9 offers, that's impressive.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. They're good
Um,
people. It was definitely their house. So,
oh, that's good. You got it for them. They'll remember you forever for that.
well, they're 2 of my best friends. So I hope so.
What would you say is your real estate superpower?
Oh, good question. I would have to say just that I'm a people person. I genuinely, in my heart of hearts, really truly care about my clients and my people in my life. And I go above and beyond because of that. And I really truly feel that that is my superpower. My heart and my dedication for my clients is my superpower.
So with that and being all referral based, what are your best tips for staying in touch with your past clients?
Oh, good call. I love writing handwritten notes. It's one of my favorite things to do because whenever I see my kids get something in the mail or myself, whenever I get something in the mail that's handwritten, it kind of makes the heart, flutter a little bit and like, oh, that's really sweet. Somebody thought about me. And it's something that I learned from Brian Buffini. Didn't drink the Kool-Aid all the way with him, but definitely, again, took some nuggets that I really liked. And the handwritten notes was definitely one of them for me. So I try to always implement that on a weekly basis with past clients.
I think that's such a good tip, because in this digital world that we live in now, and everybody's just texting all the time and social media and sometimes emailing, to get something in the mail that somebody actually took the time to hand write, it's really special nowadays. I mean, it used to be, years ago, it was the norm. When I was a kid, I actually loved having pen pals, and I loved writing letters. Like I would write, I had, I don't know, multiple, 5 or 6 at a time, all the time in different areas of the United States. And I also remember I had one in Sweden.
Oh, that's so
And
cool.
it was so exciting to go to the mailbox and get a letter, especially like from Sweden. And it's just a lost art. So the fact that you're doing that on a regular basis, I think that does bring such a personal connection to your relationships, and, builds up
Yeah.
that
It's not
trust
even,
factor too.
to my clients always. Like sometimes, most of the time, yes, I try to, just so I'm touching base with them. But if a friend did something nice for me or I was just thinking about them, I think that's also important. But guess what? I also do slide my business card in there just to
Mhm.
kind of like stay top of mind in that. Like, oh, by the way, I'm also a realtor, but I love you. And it was so nice to see you the other day, or whatever it is. It doesn't always have to be. And guess what? That keeps you on the top of their mind. And if maybe they know somebody, you know, or when they're ready, whenever that is.
Exactly. It's a nice subtle plug, but with a heartfelt
Right.
intention behind it.
Coming from a very genuine place. Like, I'm sitting down to do these cards because this is what I do for my business. However, I'm thinking about you and I want to tell you I'm thinking about you and that I love you.
And people tend to keep those, when you get something in the mail that somebody hand wrote, like those are the things that I treasure. I know I tuck them away, and going through them years later and just remembering, and it's just a stronger connection, I
I
think.
actually still have one from Elizabeth Davidson that she gave me after one of the first times we met because it was so awesome. I was like, oh, Elizabeth Davidson. It's just awesome.
Do you have any systems or software, CRM? How do you keep organized? What do you do on the organizational front? And then also to stay motivated to make your calls every day or send out your letters and whatever it is that you need to do.
Yeah, actually, Sotheby's has a really amazing CRM that we use for Active Pipe. So I keep all my contacts in there. However, I also make sure that I have my own personal CRM at home as well. I usually just kind of keep it on spreadsheets at this point in time, but I do a CVS in case I ever need to upload it again to any other, just because in case I ever left a brokerage, not saying I would. I'm very, very, very happy. But just in case, being the smart realtor and being the smart business person is to keep it, on your own database as well. And so
Absolutely.
I try to always keep like property anniversaries in my phone, so
Mm.
I can, or into my CRMs, birthdays, that kind of stuff. So I can always just kind of touch base and make sure I'm like, oh gosh, I feel like I have no way to reach out to people this week. I'll check that. I'm like, oh, there's actually 2 birthdays this week. I can send those cards out, or I can make those phone calls, or I can check and say, oh, there's a property anniversary. Gosh, oh my gosh, it's already been 3 years. I'm so excited. Maybe I'll do a pop by on that kind of day and, take a
Right.
bottle of champagne or whatever, if I'm in the area, or I'll make sure to be in the area for those people on those days. So those are some of the things I do.
Absolutely. I've been using Sphere. I don't know if you know
Oh,
that one.
cool.
It was actually created by a local Portland agent.
Oh, very cool.
Yes, he's a broker over at Living Room Realty, but it's I mean, it's your basic CRM and all of that, but it has the house anniversary reminders and the birthdays and all of that. But the thing I love about it is it has a transaction timeline feature.
Oh, cool.
So when you get into a transaction, it automatically emails this really nice graphic to the client saying like your offer was accepted. And then every milestone, you go through inspections, earnest money's due, they get the same email, but then the dot changes colors and it has like so you
Oh,
can
that's
see
really cool.
exactly where you are at all times. And then on the other side, it has all the parties in the transaction, who the escrow person is, who the other agent is. And so I really like that feature about it. But
That
I do
that's
a spreadsheet as well.
Yeah, that's really cool. I love that you mentioned that too, because when I was first starting out in the business, I did all that stuff myself, and having a tool like that would have blown my mind, and that would have been amazing. Right now, I'm fortunate enough I use a transaction coordinator,
Mm.
just because when you kind of get busy and you got like four deals going on at the same time, I just don't want to make sure I'm not dropping the ball anywhere for my clients. And my transaction coordinator is amazing, and she does all that beautiful stuff for me, and she makes it look really pretty and cute.
That kind of leads into my next question, which is if you could wave a magic wand and eliminate any of your tasks, what is your least favorite thing to do?
I would have to say probably just the paperwork side. Like I'm fine with that. That's great. But I am like, get me to the house, get me in front of my people, get me on the phone, even negotiating. I love negotiating with the other realtor. Like that's challenging to me. That's fun. I'm always like, here's what my client wants. I'm going to go here. And if I have to end up here, okay, fine. But we're not ending up here. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I like the challenge of negotiations. That's really fun for me. But the paperwork side, I'm like, I just want to call somebody, or I want to go show them a house, or I want to like meet with somebody and do a listing appointment, or, I just like to be in front of people or around people. So
It is such a blessing that we have transaction coordinators if we want to use them. I tend to do my own paperwork most of the time, but there have been times where I've had like 5 transactions going on at once, and keeping it all straight can be a challenge. And to know you
yeah,
have like a dedicated person who's on top of it at all times, well worth their weight in gold.
I agree. And I love doing it myself too. Don't get me wrong. I really do. Like I still try to make sure when I can that I am doing the paperwork, because as we mentioned, I think on our phone call yesterday or whatever, that, things are always consistently changing,
Uh-huh.
and I want to make sure I am on top of it. I mean, there's even a new, whole new set of forms out there right
I
now.
know that is,
So
yes.
whole new set of forms. So I'm lucky that our company has definitely given us a lot of knowledge on that. They're consistently doing continual education for us, but just even knowing that that exists and being on top of it and being ready to use them and feeling confident in that. And I want to get my hands on them. I want to use them. I want to be first to that race, just so I know what comes, if somebody brings them to me, I know exactly what we're doing for my clients.
Yes, we have to stay literate on the technology side and also on the forms side, because the forms that we do have are ever changing. And now, like
Mhm.
you said, here in Oregon, we had one set of forms that everybody used. Now they've introduced this whole second set of forms, which is completely different.
Yep.
As of this year, 2023, I haven't actually had an opportunity to deal with those forms yet. I know there's a lot of educational content and classes that to sign up for. I hear they actually are easier in some ways, but I have not taken the dive on that yet.
Yeah, there are definitely some things I like better for sure, but what is always easiest at the beginning, right? But definitely there are some really cool things, and there definitely was lined up, I think, to make it with realtors in mind 100%, and it does make it a little bit easier. It's pretty cool. So you should,
No, I'm
I
gonna
know
have
you're
to
busy
dive
doing
into that.
podcast stuff, girl, don't worry.
Right? Gotta balance it
Do a
all
cool
out though.
thing.
Absolutely. When you went into this year, into 2023, what were your planning goals? Did you have a goal for a certain volume that you wanted to hit, or a certain amount of clients, or a certain amount of new clients, or what were your goals this year for this year?
For this year, well, thank you for asking. Actually, this year was the first year that my kids, my girls, are 6 years old now, and they started kindergarten. They were 5 when they started; they just turned 6. And my goal was always leading up to when they went back to kindergarten. When they went to kindergarten, I was really going to focus and catapult my career. All the work I've done before was really going to just go full blast into it. So my goal for the year was to what I do every year actually, which is pretty cool. I think I take out a old school little check from my checkbook, and I write myself a check on what I want to do for gross commission sold for the year. And in 2023, I just have it pinned up right behind my computer desk every day, something I look at all the time, and it's astronomical. And it'd be really fun if I hit it. And I'm on my way, actually. I'm not saying it's not possible this year. So that's definitely something I like to do, where I'm looking at it all the time. So I'm on my way to that. As far as just want to do the best job I can possibly for my clients and have them tell a friend and have them tell more friends and more friends, and want to start getting my lead generation video content moving and going. I just finished a course with that. So I'm really excited to implement my new lead gen this year as well. And also my husband and I are starting our own company, and that's a huge goal for me for 2023, is to get that successfully off the ground with my husband. Cascade Land Associates is what it's going to be called, and it's our land investment venture that we'll be taking on together.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, that's definitely a full plate, a lot to juggle, but very exciting.
Yes. I would be bored if I wasn't busy. I am a very, very busy bumblebee. So I'm actually really looking forward to it. My husband's my best friend, and he's also already in real estate as well. He owns his own home inspection company, Kestrel Property Inspections. And so we're both like, well, we love real estate. How else can we deep dive into it? And we found that this was a very natural process for both of us. He does all this stuff I don't like to do, the spreadsheets and the paperwork, and I get to be on the phone and talk to people and look for comps.
What is the purpose of the land company? What exactly are you doing with it?
So we are going to invest in land. We're going to buy a piece of land and try to force appreciation, do improvements on the land, and then sell it, trying to sell it.
Are you going to actually build a home, or are you talking like
we're not going to do homes,
infrastructure and utilities?
Yeah, we're going to maybe try to clear some of it out, make sure it has like good access to it. We would love to eventually long-term goals, because it is very expensive to do out the gate, but get maybe septic and water on the property, and then sell it type of thing. Anyways, we can look to improve the land and then turn around and sell it. Kind of like house flipping, but for land type of situation.
I think that's awesome, because that's a rare commodity for people who want to build a custom home or even put a manufactured home on a piece of land. I actually have looked into it myself, and I was daunted by the expense and the knowledge that you need, because if it is raw land with no utilities in place, bringing all of that in it's a lot, and it can, for some people, make it no longer feasible. So if they find a piece of land that's like prepped and ready to go, the utilities are just ready to be hooked up, and they can just go put their structure on it. I think that's awesome. And something, especially with, we have a housing shortage, and that's another really good option. And I love to watch YouTube, and I watch the land people on YouTube who do, some of them have, 30 acres or 50 or 100 acres, and they end up putting like a glamping site on there, or a yurt or some other thing, and a garden and all these other things, and having multiple streams of income. And then they also live there as well, which I think is really fun.
That's really, really, really cool. Yeah. I mean, I just want to help people in all of their real estate ventures, whether they need to get out from under this piece of land because it's like been in their family for years and they just don't want it anymore. And I'm like, well, we can take that and we can help maybe make some improvements on it, and then we can sell it to whoever it's supposed to be for, like, I mean, the good thing about land is it's always your dirt, you own that, and it's really cool. And I think it's amazing that people can make all these different sources of income flow from their land now. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's interesting with navigating the zoning and the regulations for it, but there's also the option of potentially getting a variance or all of these things. Like the land specialty, I think it's really intricate, and to know about it is so valuable on the realtor side, because you never know, even if you are just a realtor showing existing homes, at some point you're probably going to have a client. And if you become known for that and can provide that product ready, like, here you go, that's just such a valuable addition to your business, I think.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. As one of my favorite things about this, I'm like, wow, like I didn't know a ton about land before I got started. I mean, I knew enough, but man, it's really making me deep dive in. And I'm like, this is just going to make me a better realtor for my clients all around, because I am just constantly learning, and it is exciting. I really love learning. That's the other thing I love about real estate. My house is never the same. The client's never the same. Everything's always changing. It's really exciting. I'm constantly learning, and I love being a student. So
I think we're similar in that way too. And I find it fascinating that even after years of doing this business, every transaction, there's an opportunity to learn something new. Something comes up that's never come up before, and you have to think about it in a different way, or pull in some additional resources, and just constantly building your toolbox and resources to be able to help people.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite words is the toolbox. Another tool for your toolbox. It's
Mhm.
true. That's what we got to do, to do the best quality for our clients, to be at the highest level for them. So, because
Absolutely.
they deserve it. I mean, we are helping people with their largest investment of their lives for most of them.
Mhm.
This is the largest purchase they will make. And they need people that they can truly trust to help them through this, and
Absolutely.
that's our job. And it's what an amazing job. So fortunate.
It is pretty fun.
Super. I mean, I hate it. No, I'm just kidding.
Speaking of fun, what do you like to do outside of real estate? What do you do in your everyday life,
Oh,
hobbies, family events, or what kind of stuff are you into?
Oh, well, fun question. Well, I love to run. So I am a runner, former soccer player, and I never ever thought I would ever say I love to run, because the only time used to love to run was when I was actually playing the game, chasing a ball. But I just learned it when I got older, like, man, it's so fun. It's great. So I love running. I'm a runner. I do events with my family, my mom, my auntie, half marathons, my girlfriend Sam. That's my running buddy. Hey, Sam. um just running events I love doing. I also am a singer, so I absolutely love to go out and karaoke and sing, or sometimes I sing at music festivals. I'm singing at a music festival coming up in May, Beltane Music Festival. I get to do the ceremony songs there, so, and my girls are actually singing with me,
Oh my
so that'll
gosh,
that'll be really fun.
that's great. What is your musical style for your singing? Like, what kind of genre do you do?
I love genuinely everything. I used to work at the Barrel Room in downtown Portland, so it was like an all request bar. So I
Hmm.
will hit you with some 90s R&B hip hop, and then I'll throw some country at you. I'll throw some Stevie Wonder at you. So I am in love with Frank. I'm all over the board. It's just all over the board. I love all genres of music.
Well, speaking of music, if you haven't already, when you have time, on Amazon Prime, there Daisy Jones and the Six. Have you seen this?
I've heard of it and I want to
My
watch it. I
God, it's
saw one
so
of the
good.
previews where I was like, I bet I'm gonna love that. Thank you for reminding me, because
You're
that fell off
welcome.
my radar for a second. Yep, I've
It
seen the
is, it's a binger for sure. And it's
cool.
only 10 episodes and that's it. So it's like it's not coming back, which saddens me, but I've watched
Oh,
it
wait.
twice. It's
Okay.
fantastic, so good. And the music, like they wrote all this, I don't know who wrote the music for it, but they did such a great job. And you can also download the album on Spotify, which I did, which I thought was kind of cool because it's a fictional, semi-fictional at least. I mean, I know it was based on a book, and there were some hints behind the scenes that it might have been about Fleetwood Mac.
I
Or
was wondering, it kind of gave that vibe,
it
right?
does,
Okay,
yeah, a little
cool.
bit. So I don't really know. I never read the book, but it's a fantastic series. I've watched it twice already. And I don't know if a lot of people know this, but the girl that plays the main character, Daisy, she's actually Elvis's granddaughter.
Oh, wow. I did
Mhm.
not know that. Well, I
And
am in. I'm
she
sold.
said on the interviews that before this, she didn't really sing. So I was like,
Oh,
what? Because her mom was obviously Lisa Marie sang. And
yeah.
anyway, it's fantastic. It's a good one.
Well, I'm in. I'm sold. I will watch it. And it's funny because I'm actually needing something like,
Mhm.
and I have a little lunch breaks and I just need to binge something sometimes. So that's,
Well, there you go.
yeah. Thank you.
Sure. What would be your best tip or book or podcast or anything that helps you that you could recommend to either new agents or agents that are struggling to increase their business? What would be like a golden nugget that you would give?
That's a good question. I am a podcast girl. I really, really, really love podcasts. Obviously, Icons of Real Estate
Mhm.
podcast, first and
Yes.
foremost. Duh, no brainer. To throw another one out there just in case, that was influential for me, being a woman and a mom in real estate. I really connected with Jen Percival. She does women rocking real estate. And I also ended up doing like a coaching class from her as well with video content, which was really awesome. But anytime I can just get podcast knowledge in my ears, and or sit down with any one of my colleagues and pick their brains, because they are some of the smartest people on planet Earth, I just do it.
I love that. Going back to your office and just talking to
Mhm.
everybody and seeing
Yep.
what you can gain, especially in a bigger office where you have like a variety of experience levels.
Mhm.
That's fantastic. Well, I want to thank you so much for your time today. We appreciate you making time to be here on the Oregon Icons of Real Estate.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been a lot of fun.
Absolutely. And if you would share, if anybody would like to reach out and get in touch with you, you're welcome to share whatever contact information you would like, or your social media, if we have agents listening that want to learn more about you or get any more of your knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely. My email address is melody.nichols@cascadehassansir, that's SIR.com. My telephone number, you can reach me directly, 503-327-1294. Or my Instagram handle is Melody Songbird Realtor. And Facebook is Melody Nichols Realtor.
Okay, great. I'm going to follow you on Instagram as soon as we get done here.
Yeah, please do.
And I appreciate your time, and I would love to get together in real life. And
Yes.
since we are in the same
We're
local
best
area,
friends now.
for sure.
Okay.
Okay. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks,
Okay.
Maureen.
Bye-bye.
Bye.